What's up, horror fans? It's Danny from the Lasercast.
And Charlotte.
And what movie did we see yesterday?
Coraline.
Caroline. Oh, wait, what?
Coraline.
Coraline. For some reason, I'm still not sure why, but I'm not upset. Fathom Events decided to put Coraline in the theater one day only yesterday.
Yeah.
It was the 13th anniversary. The movie came out in 2009. Usually Fathom Events picks
Did it come out in August? No.
I don't even know. Like, it's a horror movie for kids, so, like,
Pretty
you would
much.
think maybe October would be a better time. But, hey, August 15th, 2022, they
Who
just
cares?
threw Coraline into the movies for one day.
I
But
don't mind.
Charlotte was super excited because she loves this movie.
I really do.
And, yeah, and so she was actually more excited because I had never seen it, so it was kind of like her taking me to the movies.
I felt like we just switched personalities.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things to do is when they re-release a classic, I like to take Charlotte.
And I love watching those classics too. Like we saw the Fog and the Thing a few months ago.
Yeah, and a little movie, I forgot what it's called. Jaws is coming back to the
In
movies
3D.
in IMAX 3D in September. So, like, Charlotte has seen these movies, but, like, I want her to see them on the big screen.
Yes.
So this was the first time a movie that she had seen that I hadn't had brought back. So it was really exciting to go see Coraline, and it had a before the movie came on. It had a little featurette. I think it was a little older because everybody looked very young, but they had Neil Gaiman, the author of the book.
They had the director.
They had Henry Selick, the director.
Who
They
directed A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, which is pretty much like your favorite movie
It's
ever
one of my
made, right?
favorite
We have
movies.
a really cool, what do you call these things?
Globes.
Oh, snow globe. Why?
Okay.
Come on,
they were-
brain.
They were in the movie.
They were in the movie Coraline. We have a cool Nightmare Before Christmas snow globe back there, but that's like Charlotte's favorite movie,
Yeah.
and there's so many parallels between that movie and this movie. Obviously,
They're both scary, and they're both claymation.
yeah, well, they're both stop motion animation. They're both directed, as Charlotte said, by Henry Selick. Everybody thinks Tim Burton directed Nightmare Before Christmas.
It too. I was like, director.
But Selick actually directed it, and then he went on to do Coraline. And yeah, like the even the idea of, like, in Nightmare Before Christmas, Jack finds the trees and
Yeah.
like he falls into a new world,
And then Coraline finds the door and then falls into a new world.
yeah, like a different reality, right?
Yeah.
So for people who haven't seen Coraline, we're going to talk about it a little bit. We are going to give a few spoilers. The movie came out 13 years ago, but tell everybody what Coraline is about. What's this movie about?
So Coraline is about a girl named Coraline. She moves into a new house with her mom and her father, and her mom and her father are writing a report about plants, even though they really don't like gardening or anything.
Yeah, and the mom hates dirt and everything.
And the mom hates her. No, I'm kidding. The mom and the dad are like pushing her away because they need to get work done. And like the mom's really like not nice. She's like, zip it and
Yeah,
leave me alone.
she's not really mean, but she's also like the parents are pretty much like very dismissive. Like, go do your own thing, leave us alone. We have to get work
I
done.
mean, the dad's pretty nice. Like he'll make a few jokes.
Yeah. So what happens to Coraline? What does she do?
So she finds a door, and the door is bricked up. But then in the middle of the night, when she goes to check on that door, don't ask me why she did. Because she was following the jumping mice.
Yeah, the jumping mice.
The door opens a portal into the other world.
And she meets her other mother and other father, who are like perfect.
Who are beautiful, perfect beings.
Who
with
cook
button
and
eyes.
yes, that's the thing. They have button eyes, which
Ooh, it
is
looks like I have button eyes.
which is really creepy. And that comes back later because they decide, well, the other mother wants Coraline to stay in that world.
Well, Coraline goes about 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the 4th time, she realizes that they're a little evil.
Yeah. And, like, they want her to stay, but she has to have her eyes replaced with buttons, which is really creepy. And then we find out that other mother is this, like, evil, like, kind of witch thing.
The Beldam.
The Beldam?
The Beldam.
The behind-the-scenes stuff, well, yeah, so Coraline has to fight this. She ends up having to rescue her...
She gets help from Wybie, the other Wybie.
Yes.
Who is like this...
next-door neighbor?
Well, the real Wybie is just this annoying person who at the end helps her.
And she also gets help from a very mangy-looking but fun cat who it turns out is voiced by who?
I don't remember.
You don't remember who does the voice of the cat?
No.
Keith David.
Oh.
Who does he play?
I don't know.
I told you. He's in The Thing.
Oh, Child.
Yeah, he plays Childs in The Thing, and he also is in They Live. He plays the other guy that Roddy Piper's with.
I knew his name was Keith.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember he was Child.
He's really good.
Coraline
Go
also
ahead.
gets help from these 2 downstairs neighbors, and they look into the tea, and one of the smarter ones says, I see a creepy hand, which is supposed to be the Beldam's hand, the other mother, and the other one's like, oh, I see a giraffe.
Yeah. They're fun characters.
And then there's Mr.
Bobinski, he was like a circus performer who is training jumping mice. It's a typically crazy stop motion world, and one of the things that the behind the scenes featurette that they played at the beginning talks about is like the making of the movie and how they
said they film 4 seconds in 1 week.
4 seconds a week, and they said if they had a great day, a perfect day, they can get 3 seconds a day, which would almost never happen. But just all the work that went into like setting up the universe of this world where literally everything needed to be made. So like they talked about...
there was like a woman who made miniature knitted sweaters.
Yeah, this woman's job is just knit the actual clothing that the stop motion puppets have to wear. And then they talked about how they would take like dog toys, chewable dog toys, and they'd cut them up and turn them into flowers because they would like squeeze up and when in stop motion. It's just absolutely amazing. And like, again, you love Nightmare Before Christmas. It's the same type of behind the scenes stuff where it's just the creating of the house and the different levels of the house.
They use some type of camera when I couldn't even tell the first time I watched Coraline that it was a stop motion film.
Well, this was also, I think, the first stop motion movie ever made for 3D. That was the other thing.
I didn't know it was 3D until I watched it yesterday.
Yeah. It was also...
It was in 3D. I was like, 3D?
Coraline was the first movie made by Leica, which is an animation studio. They've made Paranorman, which I think you would really like. It's also horror-themed. We actually saw Kubo and the Two Strings.
I don't know what that is.
You were like 5 years old, and you're now almost 12.
I remember the Lego movie, and I watched it when I was like 3.
Yeah, but we also watched that a bunch of times, and everything is awesome was in it. But, Tim Burton also has movies like Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie, which are done in the same way, and I think you really...
Mars Attack.
Well, Mars Attacks is some animation. It's done like 50 style, but that, again, like, I think you'd love those movies, like Mars Attacks, Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie, Paranorman, because if you love Coraline and if you love Nightmare Before Christmas, those are the same types of movies, like with that type of animation.
But I also love the plot too. Like the
plot. The behind the scenes, we actually get to hear it from Neil Gaiman, who wrote the book. Neil Gaiman right now has Sandman out on Netflix.
Really?
American Gods on Stars. He's like a prolific horror and supernatural author. He's known for creating these like immersive universes, and like Coraline is that, like the way that you go into this world, and like you said, you go through that door and it's a completely new universe.
Another thing was that this movie hints that all of this is done just by the other mother. The other father isn't behind any of this, because at the end you find out that she's controlling him.
Yeah, the other mother is
pumpkin.
the other mother is just a villain. Yeah, she's like the lone villain. The other mother and the actual mother are voiced by Terry Hatcher. Dakota Fanning is the voice of Coraline. We mentioned Keith David. There's some great Ian McShane plays Bobinski. So it's got great voice talent. It looks phenomenal. And I'll be honest, it's the type of movie where, like, having seen it for the first time, I would watch it again. I don't think it's going to be A Nightmare Before Christmas for me, because that movie is, like, extra special.
Yeah, that movie is, like...
But it's certainly great. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen Coraline, I totally recommend it. One of the things that, like, when I first started having you make videos with me on this channel, one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about is gateway horror. Those movies that they're horror movies, but they're made really for kids to kind of get you, like monsters. Most people are not like me. Most parents are not just going to be like, hey, you're 8 years old, let's watch A Nightmare on Elm Street, or let's watch The Exorcist. Most parents are going to be like, I want my kid to watch something that might be a little scary, but also fun. Actually, do you remember the first horror movie you ever watched?
Was it Monster Squad?
It was. That movie just celebrated its 35th anniversary.
I know.
But, like, movies like that, where that movie has kids in it.
Yeah.
Like, the kids interact with the monsters.
Like The Goonies.
The Goonies is a great example. The Gate was one of the first movies we watched together.
The Craft? No.
The Craft, kind of. That's a little bit older because the characters are in high school, not kids. But, like, even Stranger Things is perfect gateway horror. And... That's what Coraline is. That's what Nightmare Before Christmas is. Yes. And I think that if you're a parent and you have a kid who's maybe 5 or 6 years old and you want to get that kid to maybe
start at 7 or 8, please.
Okay, maybe. But, you know, it's animated. It has that stop motion animation feeling like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, but there's some adults, like my grandma's afraid of this movie.
Oh yeah, my mother is. When I told my mom we saw Coraline, she was like, "Oh God, that movie with the buttons." Oh, but yeah, I think this is a perfect gateway horror movie. If I had seen it, I would have shown this to you when you were younger. I'm glad that you actually watched it on your own.
Did you see me when the father was playing the song? Did you see me go? Because I was like mouthing the words.
You know yeah.
So I didn't want to sing it because we were in the movie theater.
Yeah, and it had there were a good number of people in the movies. Like, this is obviously a movie that has a following, because there were, like, I would say a third. Yeah, like this movie was only out in the theater yesterday, 2 showings, and our theater was probably, I would say, half full by the time the curtain went down. Before they turned the lights off late, but
yeah,
there were a bunch of people in there.
It was like already 5 to 10 minutes into the movie, and the lights were still on. We were like,
so if you're looking for a good gateway horror movie, Coraline is perfect. As a first time watcher, I'm 40 years old. It's the first time I'm watching it. I did not feel like, oh, this is a kid's movie. There are some real creepy things in there. It's the type of movie I would love to watch again. And it's one of Charlotte's favorites.
They have a TikTok sound. It's like, you probably think this world's a dream come true, but you're wrong. And then it shows like creepy stuff from Coraline, or like different movies, which is a good thing.
We also joked around that because the movie is about Coraline feeling like nobody's paying attention to her, and her other mother is like just giving her everything she wants. Obviously, she's trying to trick her. But I was like, with Charlotte and
I'm the real mom.
Yeah, and I'm Coraline. I'm like,
Dad,
Charlotte, let's watch a movie. Let's do something. Let's go, let's go out and do something.
Dad,
and Charlotte's
I'm
like,
watching TikTok. My God.
yeah, Dad, I'm watching TikTok. Come on. But that's what we thought of Coraline. Give our video a like. Subscribe if you haven't.
Question: would you go down that door?
Oh, that's a good question.
Leave it in the comments.
I already told her. I said I would absolutely, at least the first time, I would go down the door.
No, but I think even if you go the first time, she's gonna know that you went. So she's if you don't go back, she's gonna take something like your parents.
Yeah, or you.
Or me.
But what else do we have up on the channel? Pete and I were joined by our friend Brian from Comic Books Transform channel. And we reviewed Prey, the new Predator movie, which is on Hulu now. Pete has just been on a mission to interview every horror author that he can get his hands on. He's got some great interviews up on the channel. Danger Slater, Laurel Hightower. We have another interview coming up with Keith Lansdale coming up.
I was say Keith David. I was like,
no,
what?
well, Keith, that would be great. Keith Lansdale, that's coming up. I think this coming weekend. I'm not sure. I gotta check. But we have a ton of stuff. We did our mid-year review back in July, covering a bunch of movies. We had some guests on, Derek Stockton and Joshua McMillan, and we did a big review of the Shudder film Moloch, which was really good. So yeah, that's what we have up and what we have coming up here on the Lassercast. This has been Danny
And Charlotte.
Go see Coraline if you haven't. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you haven't seen it, Coraline is streaming free on Tubi, so you can go and watch it now. And then to be or not to be?
To be.
That is the question. Bye.